It's one after the 1 o'clock hour. I'm Glam Life Kim, and I'm sitting here with one of my favoriteest people in the world, and that is Mr. Anthony Taylor. How are you
I
today,
am
bro?
my favorite person in the world too. I'm
Hey,
doing good. You know what I'm saying? Good to see
awesome.
you.
You too, you too. Look, you heard me. I tried to let that song play through because I figured the talking part was your
Yeah.
part.
Oh yeah.
Like,
That's my part. He was raw, wasn't he? He was raw.
that was funny. But you know what? It is raining
It's
outside, so it was
raining.
only
Yeah,
appropriate
it
that
had to
that
be. It had to
song
be. I mean,
played.
that's my jam. He was mad, wasn't he?
He
He
was
was
so
following her in
mad.
the rain. Like, what's going on? What's
A
going
little
on, bro?
stalking action. It was real weird, wasn't
Yeah, that's a
it?
cut. That's
Giving
a cut.
suspect.
Everything is everything. And so, what you think about the rain? We always talk about the weather. You know what
I
I'm
know.
saying?
It's got me tired today.
Yeah, it's one of them days.
Yes. And then in addition, my allergies have been so I have to take 2 allergy pills a day
Oh, wow.
because whether my eyes are itching or I'm sneezing or I'm coughing, like it's so bad.
It's
And
that time of year,
even in this rain, it's not making it no better. So I'm just like,
Well, you got a long way to go, sis.
I know I
You
need
know?
to. Oh
Figure it out.
man! Come on, y'all got to do something about all this pollen.
Yeah, that's true. But you're right. The rain always make you a little bit tired, but
Yeah.
to me, it signifies spring, right? And
Right, right.
summer,
It is
all
summer
that
now.
stuff.
That's
So,
officially
yeah,
summer.
we always tripping on the cold. Let's embrace this too.
I am. I'm
Right.
so happy.
Yeah.
Now I'm not complaining about now the rain I'm gonna complain about, but
Right.
I'm not complaining
Okay. All
about the
right.
weather.
Okay. Yeah. 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 Hey,
The heat.
Minneapolis, y'all know how we do. We talk
Mhm.
about this weather because it's beautiful. Like one of
It's
the things that Kim,
mhm.
it makes your whole body like just it's
Yeah.
energy, right? It's
Yes. Oh
energy.
my God.
You know
Sunshine and good heat
all that
looks so good. It
on
just
on
glistens
your
on our
skin.
skin.
Look at that. All right.
Mhm.
Hey, next episode, our healthcare products, y'all. With me
Right.
and Kim, we gonna sell
We sell
those.
it sunshine.
All that. It is always my pleasure in Minneapolis to come to you every second and fourth Wednesday of the month. I am your host, Anthony Taylor. Always with me is Glam Life Kim. Really, really, really a blessing to be here. And I say it all the time, and I mean it. One of the things I think that's always important, y'all, is that we give out the information for community, right? And when we say community, I think I want to be clear, right? Community is everyone. It's
Mhm.
everybody in Minneapolis, not just your neighbors. It's not just your people over the South. It's your community that people work, play, and live. And Minneapolis is one of the diversest cities I've ever been to. And we celebrate diversity here as we should. We are a
Mhm.
welcoming city for all of our folks, right? Like there's no better place in Minneapolis to be uh experiencing different cultures and everything that you can. Like I walked around at Juneteenth a couple weeks ago, and there was so many different
I know, right?
ethnicities and people out there
Mhm.
having fun.
It's a beautiful thing to see.
It's a beautiful thing to see, right? And I go to the grocery store and I shop, and it's so to me one of our true blessings. And one of the reasons I'm saying that Minneapolis is to talk about just really what Minneapolis is. It's a welcoming city. We
Mhm.
welcome all our immigrants. We welcome our folks from different countries. And
Mhm.
if you've been kind of tracking a lot of stuff in the news, we've got a lot of stuff coming from this administration that just
Mhm.
aren't cool with our undocumented folks and people in our community. If you are aware of some of the things that happened a couple weeks ago over South, with some Minneapolis police and ICE agents in Hennepin County. There's just a lot of things out there that happen. And one of the things I think is important when you are tracking things like this in Minneapolis is the fact that there is misinformation out there too. Like everything that you read on how you get your information ain't always true, right? And
Mhm.
so sometimes I think it's important. I got the perfect person to come on. She is Director of Immigrant and Refugees Affairs, Michelle Rivero. She's a lawyer. She's a mom. She's a colleague. She's just one of the realest people in the city. And then she works exclusively on this topic. And this is her first
Mm.
time, Kim, on the show. So
Yeah, well, welcome,
welcome, Michelle. How
Michelle.
you doing?
Thank you. I don't know if you can hear me. So first I want to test my sound. I'm so grateful to be here and I have to say slightly nervous too. Can you hear me?
Yeah, you
Mhm.
good.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank
So
you so much for welcoming me on the program.
absolutely. So like introduce yourself to the city of Minneapolis. Tell us what you do and just a little
Mhm.
bit about the Office of Immigrant and Refugees Affairs.
For sure. So this office is known as OIRA, OIRA, and it was established in 2018, so during the last Trump administration. And really the focus of this office is to work to ensure that people who are born outside of the United States are able to achieve lives of safety, of dignity, and of opportunity in the city of Minneapolis. We connect people to a variety of different resources, including immigration legal service providers for people who can't afford to pay for an attorney. We help people who are interested in English language classes. We host community hours. There are a lot of ways to engage. And we also work within the city structure, so with different city offices, to promote strategies that help with immigrant and refugee inclusion, help us all find a sense of belonging, including people who are born outside of the United States, and finding a sense of belonging here in the city of Minneapolis.
We are talking to Michelle Rivero, Director of Office of Immigrant and Refugees Affairs. If you have any questions, call up 612-377-3456. And Michelle, I talked about it a little bit before I got you on, and I would love for you to talk about it, right? Because people say, well, we're a welcoming city, and then some people get it misunderstood, but it's a sanctuary city. But Minneapolis stands on the fact that we are a welcoming city. So when we say that, what exactly does that mean?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think that it's important for people to know that we have policies and practices that promote welcome here in the city of Minneapolis. One of the biggest ones is the city's separation ordinance. And the separation ordinance is a city law that says that city employees won't ask people about their immigration status. Because when people need help or want access to city services or want to file a police report or want to learn how to start a business, we don't want people to be concerned about being asked about their immigration status. Another thing that's important for people to know is that city employees do not participate in federal immigration enforcement. So the responsibility for immigration enforcement is at the federal level, not at the municipal level. We want people to know that encountering someone at the local level, like a city employee, will not result in a call to immigration authorities and won't result in immigration enforcement operations. So these are just a couple of the ways in which we demonstrate that the city of Minneapolis is a welcoming city. There are many others as well. The existence of the Office of Immigrant and Refugee Affairs is one. Our cultural community specialists, including communities who interact with our Southeast Asian community, Latino, East African, and more, as well as our language access work to ensure that the city is accessible to anyone, regardless of what your primary language is. So these are just a few of the ways in which we demonstrate that we are a welcoming city, that we are focused on creating a positive and an inclusive environment where everyone can feel a sense of trust in local government. And there are many ways in which we try and demonstrate that, including with some of our messaging. We have a new All Are Welcome Here campaign, which is launching. So folks will likely be seeing images around the city so that you can learn more, people can learn more about their rights and how we work to foster a welcoming community here.
We are talking with Michelle Rivero, Director of Office of Immigrant and Refugees Affairs. We are talking about Minneapolis being a welcoming city, immigration issues, and a lot of things that I think is important to the city. And I'm glad you kind of framed that, Michelle, about being a welcoming city, right? So I would love for you to get into some specifics, because ultimately I think Minneapolis is tracking just a lot what's going on in this city, right? Not only at the federal level, but the local level, right? And I talked about it before a little bit. Like there's a lot of different narratives out there, and there are some truths and there's some untruths, right? And people get their information in a lot of different ways. I mean, we're relationship people, and we talk to each other, and we may find some things, but ultimately, I think when we have these type of shows, we need to get into the specifics, right? So when I talked a little bit about before with some of the incidents that's happened over the last couple of weeks, talk about just the city in itself and its response to like any incidents that involve ICE, immigration enforcement agencies. Like, kind of give us the rules and regulation on what that means for the city of Minneapolis.
So I know that the images that people saw, and if people were at Lake in Bloomington on June 3rd, that is arresting and disturbing. I know that since that date, since June 3rd, both the mayor as well as the police chief have have worked to communicate a message of strength and also of support of community, and also have worked to clearly identify the scope of responsibility from the standpoint of city employees, and stressing the fact that the city does not participate in immigration enforcement, does not work on perimeter enforcement for immigration agents, does not receive advance notice of immigration enforcement operations if they take place, are important things to be aware of. I think it's also valuable for folks to be able to learn more about the city's separation ordinance, including on the Office of Immigrant and Refugee Affairs webpage. Also, the Office of Immigrant and Refugee Affairs hosts community hours where we're able to answer people's questions one-on-one and address concerns that people have. Those community hours are at 777 East Lake Street. And that's a space where we're available on Mondays, on Wednesdays, and on Fridays to share information with community. I think it's important for folks to appreciate that city staff, including Minneapolis police, do not assist with immigration enforcement or crowd control. I think it's worth repeating. MPD does respond to 911 calls, respond to threats of life or property, public safety for protests, ensuring public safety for protests, and ensuring access for emergency vehicles like ambulances and fire trucks.
And I'm glad you clarified that. Again, Minneapolis, we're talking with Michelle Rivero, Director of Office in Immigrant and Refugee Affairs. We are talking about all things Minneapolis when it comes to a welcoming city, immigration, and just really the status of what the Minneapolis Police Department can do. So, Michelle, one of the kind of questions I would have as a community member, and I may know somebody or live with somebody who may be experiencing some of these issues, like things are coming fast and furious from this administration, right? I mean, it's like record speed out here, Kim, how they just dropping all of this stuff on people,
Super
right?
fast.
And it's like, it's disturbing. And sometimes you just really can't catch up on what you need to know. So are there any new policies that folks might know that might be coming down with any type of related issues to immigration?
So you're absolutely right in terms of how things are coming down so quickly. It's hard to keep track. One of the ways in which we share information with community is through a virtual forum that takes place every couple of weeks, the Twin Cities Immigration Forum, where we invite legal service providers to walk through some of the changes. It's important for people to understand that some of the efforts of the federal government have been unsuccessful in the area of immigration and have been challenged in court. One of the developments that is effective now is that immigration court hearings are being canceled for people who have been in the United States for less than 2 years. And in addition to that, while the court hearings are being canceled, the government is using a procedure called expedited removal that would result in taking people into immigration custody. And so one of the things that our immigration legal service provider partners is doing is offering orientations around what you can do if you have an immigration court hearing coming up, to be aware of this new practice and to identify what risks may exist for you. Another topic that has been reported in the news is the 2025 travel ban on June 4th. Trump, the president, issued a proclamation restricting entry into the U.S. for foreign nationals from certain countries. There are 12 countries where there's a full travel ban, and then an additional 7 countries where there's a partial travel ban. There are exceptions that include U.S. permanent residents and dual nationals. And so, again, one of the things that we are working to do, including through the virtual Twin Cities Immigration Forum, is ensuring that people are aware of these developments, aware of how they may impact themselves or individuals they know, and where to go for assistance. And one of the things that I want to make sure to share is that one of the ways to get assistance is through our free immigration legal service provider partners. The city contracts with a number of immigration legal service providers to ensure that people who aren't able to afford an immigration attorney are able to consult with an attorney, receive legal information, receive advice, and in cases where there is the capacity, receive full representation in their immigration-related matters. The legal service provider partners host community hours in various parts of the city, many days of the week. And so if folks were to visit the OIRA webpage, they can learn more, or also come to OIRA community hours on Lake Street and sort of walk through the different ways to access an immigration legal service provider. Because one of the most important things to keep in mind is we're seeing all these developments in the news, right, and hearing about the impacts on community, but understanding how these developments impact you or someone you know or care about really requires a very individualized determination and a consultation with an immigration attorney. So that's something that I would suggest for community members who are or know someone who may be concerned about what they're seeing in the news and want to know how to prepare. Because really the best thing is to be prepared. And to be prepared, you need to have access to accurate information and advice.
100%. And I'm so glad you said that. In Minneapolis, we'll carve out some space at the end of the show for all of those things, office hours, websites, phone numbers that you can get at the end. And if you got any questions, please call up 612-377-3456. And I'm so glad that you talk about that, Michelle, because one of the things I think is important is knowing what to do, what not to do, your rights, right? What could happen. Like, just give me the game, right? Like, let me know exactly what I need to be able to protect myself and my family. And this is so important. And then we living in such difficult times, all of us, right? And that we need to understand what we're dealing with. So like if I am, walking down the street and I go to Cub or I go to Tito's to get my haircut, well, when I had hair, I'd maybe get a shave, right? I'm gonna get a haircut now, but and you have an encounter, right, with an ICE official. Like, what are some of the rights you have and some of the risks that you may have in an encounter with those officials?
I think one of the first things I'd like to share is when you're in an encounter like that, it can be a very scary situation. And it's hard to maintain calm. It may be hard to resist the urge to flee. But trying to be calm in the moment is one of the best things that you can do. And also to be aware of what your rights are. And that everyone has rights, regardless of their immigration status. Some of the things that are important to keep in mind are never to lie about your immigration status, never to lie, period. Don't provide false documents. You have the right to remain silent if you choose to do so. And you have these rights also. I know you mentioned the example of, well, I'm on the street, right? And someone is apprehending me on the street. You can practice doing these things. Like if an officer is asking you questions, choosing to not answer those questions if you want. There are videos that are also available on the ACLU website, which kind of help walk you through what rights you have and how to stand up for your rights. It's very important and valuable to practice. If you want to show your immigration documentation to show that you are authorized to be in the United States, you can. But at the same time, it's important to recognize that you can maintain your silence if you want and indicate that you want to speak with an attorney. Other things to keep in mind are if you're preparing for the possibility of an immigration enforcement encounter, really commit to memory the most important people in your life. Who would you call if you're apprehended by immigration agents? If you have an immigration attorney, memorize that phone number. Appreciate the fact that if you have a cell phone on you, that cell phone may be taken away from you. So you may not be able to access your contacts. do you have a family preparedness plan? If you don't, or if you don't know what a family preparedness plan is, you can visit our OIRA webpage and learn more. But it includes having a list of contacts at the ready for your family as well, having a plan with regard to your assets. So if you're detained by immigration agents, your family or your friends or someone you trust can act in your best interest, whether it means paying a bond, whether it means identifying an attorney if you don't have one. These are some of the preparatory steps that a person can take, recognizing the reality that there may be an immigration enforcement operation at some point in the future. And if you feel like you're at risk, it's valuable to take these steps to be prepared. So I know you're going to ask more questions, but I invite folks to visit the OIRA webpage, OIRA. There's a complete Know Your Rights page, which takes you to a variety of different websites that have videos in multiple languages and kind of cheat sheets on knowing your rights and standing up for your rights, and really for people to practice. Because it is scary when you're in front of an authority figure who may be armed, who's asking you questions. You may have an inclination to comply, and it's very difficult to say nothing, but that may be the best way forward for you. So invite people to learn more, and thank you for that question.
Yeah. It's so much to unpack, right?
It's a lot.
It's so much to unpack. And Kim, I just think about when we used to have our shows with emergency preparedness, right? Like tornadoes, inclement weather, like, power outages, like have a plan, right? So that you can be able to take care of yourself and your family. This is a plan in that same aspect, right?
It is.
So
right.
you were talking about, some of the key things, right, in this assets. And what that really hit me is like memorizing phone numbers. Like we used to do that at a certain age. I was just having this conversation, Kim, with somebody else. I could rattle off 10 phone numbers.
Phone numbers and license plate numbers.
See, okay. Yeah, I see what you
I used to could, but I can no more. And I think I blame it on the cell phone.
Because that's where we keep our information, right? So if they take your phone away from you, you don't have any of those contacts memorized, right?
Yeah.
So like Minneapolis, and again, if you don't understand this topic, or you do, or you know some people who might be interested in this information, they've got the website. I'll have Michelle repeat that again at the end of the show. OIRA has some office hours. We'll get all into that. I got a couple more questions before we get out of here, Michelle, that I think is important. And one of the things that I am so glad that you are here is because, first of all, this is your body of work and you take passion in this, but also you're an attorney, right? You're a lawyer, which makes your information to me official, right? So if you can talk just briefly, like the importance of getting a lawyer and trying to get more secure immigration status, or where can I go to get a lawyer? Can you just kind of briefly tell us, some of those ways that we can obtain that?
Yeah, for sure. So I first want to say there's so much information that's out there on social media that people come and share, like, oh, I heard this or I saw that. And so especially in every area of law, but especially in immigration law, circumstances are incredibly fact specific. And so it's very important to consult with an immigration lawyer if you're thinking about how to move forward in this current environment, especially. There are many places where you can find a free immigration legal service provider. Those are available on the OIRA webpage. They include Immigrant Law Center of Minnesota, Volunteer Lawyers Network, the Advocates for Human Rights, Mid-Minnesota Legal Aid, and some of those organizations offer community hours where you can just walk in without an appointment, bring your paperwork, and consult with an immigration attorney. There are also private immigration attorneys available. There is an association called the American Immigration Lawyers Association, which has a Minnesota Dakotas chapter. It's the largest professional association of immigration lawyers. That is a place where they have a website where you can look for a private attorney if you're not able to obtain the services of a free immigration attorney. You can also check out the OIRA webpage, which has a list of nonprofit organizations at OIRA Minneapolis. And just want community members to know that if you're in a situation where you don't know what to do and you're feeling fearful, the first step is consulting with an immigration attorney so you understand the landscape. The attorney will ask a variety of different questions in order to identify what pathway may exist for you. Is it possibly applying for asylum? Is it a work authorization through another pathway? Is it you were a victim of a crime and may be able to access immigration status in that way? The questions that the attorney will ask will help screen you to identify what immigration avenues may be available for you.
And you gave a lot of that information in the numbers and website. I appreciate it. Just really quick, office hours, right, at Career Force. Can you kind of give those office hour times and address?
Yes, so 777 East Lake Street. It's in the Career Force Center, so on the corner of Chicago and Lake. And our community hours are Mondays from 1 to 4, Wednesdays from 2 to 4, and Fridays from 1 to 4. So OIRA staff is available to answer people's questions. Yep.
And it is, go ahead, Kim, you want to say anything about that too?
I do. Yeah. Well, first, I mean, those are very limited hours. So it does not give a lot of time, for people to be able to consult depending on how many people are here. But then also, I wonder, one of my concerns is, I wonder if some immigrants are thinking, well, if we contact these places, and they come to pull the records to find out who that, will it open up the door to them, to it, people knowing that, okay, now they don't have their they don't have their status to be here, and we need, Does it?
I'm so glad you asked that question or raised that concern in community. When you consult with an immigration attorney, it is 100% confidential.
Okay.
So that's something to be aware of if people are going to meet with, whether it's a pro bono nonprofit organization or a private attorney. It is 100% confidential. The other thing that I want to share with regard to our community hours is the space where these community hours are hosted at Career Force. This is a space where people go to look for jobs. People connect with workforce development employees. It's a state building, so people come for a variety of different reasons. So it's not just, connecting with the Office of Immigrant and Refugee Affairs. I do appreciate and think it's a real thing that people are concerned about going into spaces where they may feel like they're a target. And just want folks to know that just like a library, in this workforce center, the Career Force Center, where OIRA hosts community hours, people access a variety of different information, not just immigration information.
Got you. And I guess my question would be, is the government able to come in and take your files? And, I know that's probably another concern as well for the community.
I know that attorneys do their utmost to protect the information that is provided to them, and that information is protected by attorney-client privilege. I think that with regard to questions like that, a concern that exists is that the federal government is pushing the envelope from the standpoint of overreaching and going beyond really what their responsibility and charge is. And I think I'm sorry, it remains to be seen, how we can all work to better support community members and identify areas of risk and vulnerability, and support people in being stronger.
100%. And Kim, and I'm going to show you, this is on your list too. There's some things we just can't do, right? There's some things that we can't do with the federal government. Things are always protected. Some things that families have to make hard choices, right? They have to make difficult choices in these situations, and they are life-changing choices, right? And the city of Minneapolis can only do so much, right? So one of the things I think was important to have you come on this show, Michelle, is to talk about that, right? And I think that's important. Like, Minneapolis can't stop ICE agents, but we can't interfere, right? As a resident, like if you interfere with those things, you have to understand there's risk and how you activate if you are in a situation where you are encountering ICE, right? So the website, OIRA, you can email OIRA@minneapolismn.gov. You can also call a direct line, 612-673-3129. You can also, Minneapolis, have folks go to the Career Force building, 777 East Lake Street. Office hours Monday 1 to 4, Wednesdays 2 to 4, and Friday 2 to 4. Michelle, I would love, I think over the next couple of years, there's a lot of times and situations that you may be able to come on this show. We only got 30 minutes and it's a lot of information. So I would love to, extend an invitation throughout the course of this time to be able to come on and talk. But we got to get out of here. I appreciate you. Good job, first timer on KMOJ.
Yes.
Thank you. Appreciate it. I appreciate the opportunity to be with you.
All right. Thank you, Michelle.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you.
It's just a tough situation, Kim. You got to really make some real life-changing decisions. If you're going to go to a place with some resources and ICE agents maybe know that you that you go to this place.
Or that this is a place where we can come get information. Like, it's tough. It's tough.
It's tough. It's tough. So, if you can inform yourself and make those decisions and just, know
what your options are.
Yeah. And lean on your faith. That's what I'm going to say too.
Yep. Lean on your faith. Pray about it.
Yeah. Good to see you, sis.
Hey, it's always a pleasure seeing you and riding shotgun with you. July 18th at the Orpheum Theater, it's the Lovers and Legends concert featuring Donnell Jones, Kiki Wyatt, and Carl Thomas. You gonna be in the building, bro? You not?
Them ain't none of my favorites. I ain't
what?
Nah.
No, you ain't got. Oh my God, I love me some. Now, if it was George Shoes Joe's,
yeah, it was raining outside, I'd be there. Take off that public coat you wearing. Somebody took off. Oh, that was just my dude.
But it's going down, you guys. So make sure that you guys come on out and support. Again, that's July 18th at the Orpheum Theater. Until next time, bro.
Yeah.
Until next time. See you soon.